Rudy, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
I am a four-time Paralympic swimmer and the first double above the knee amputee to finish an Ironman triathlon. And I am a former employee for the New York Roadrunners, and I manage their wheelchair training program in New York City. And so I came to know Lou from having the opportunity to train all the kids there at Icon Stadium every Saturday morning. I just recently moved out to Colorado Springs to train for my 5th Paralympic Games, hopefully this year in Tokyo.
Which I find quite amazing, and now I'm very humbled because you never talk about how great an athlete you are. So tell us a little bit about your experience going to the Paralympics.
Soon after I had my legs amputated when I was 5 years old, I set my first goal. And my first goal was in swimming, and that was to beat a kid with legs. I just didn't want to be last in a race. I wanted to show these kids that I was more than just a boy with no legs. And soon after accomplishing my first goal, my next goal was to go to the 2004 Paralympic Games. And 8 years later, I was able to make that dream a reality. And I made my first Paralympic team when I was 15, and I swam in Athens. By the time I was 16, which was day one of the Paralympic Games, I swam my event, which was the 200 individual medley, and ended up swimming much faster than I anticipated, and ended up bringing home the gold medal and breaking the world record as well. And continuing on that path of Paralympics, I also went to Beijing, where I won a gold and bronze medal, and then going to London, where I won a silver medal in the 200 IM, but also I competed in track and field, where I ran the 100 and 200 meter. Unfortunately, I didn't have great races on the track, but nonetheless, an amazing experience to be able to do 2 sports in 1 games. And most recently was in Rio, where I won the silver medal in the 200 individual medley. My next goal is to hopefully hang in there. I'm 32 years old now, and I'm hoping to go for a number 5.
What you just told me is unbelievable. I really didn't know that whole background, which now I'm in awe because 1, I will never swim against you, ever. 2, I will, as you know, I'm a distance runner, so I wouldn't run against you in 100 or 200. But what would you tell a child that has a disability? I mean, I don't know how at the age of 5 you already set your goals, but what would you tell a child of a disability that wants to get involved in a sport?
I tell these kids to have a brave heart, and by believing in themselves, you are able to set them up to accomplish whatever they want in life, whether they want to go after sports, whether they want to go after academics, whatever it is, they know that they have the opportunity and the potential to go after it. And to me, there's nothing greater than being able to motivate and inspire these young kids, because, you know, Lou, one day they're going to become faster than I ever was, or anybody who's competing right now. So we're really setting up the future of Paralympics. The future of Paralympics is happening at Icon Stadium. So it's very exciting.
Tell me a little bit about the program and what it meant to bring it to Icon Stadium as opposed to, you know, someplace else in the city.
Coming to Icon Stadium for the first time with my other 2 coaches, Paul and Tricia, you know, the first thing that struck me was, wow, this facility is amazing, and it's accessible for everybody. So we had no trouble getting all the kids and their families to the track, and then we got the kids excited about racing, and we switched them over, kind of similar to when kids put on their walking shoes and their running shoes, except the shoes are much more expensive in the program because they're racing wheelchairs, and you know, these racing wheelchairs come in all different sizes for all kids of all ages.
I mean, that first day, and I saw the look on some of those children's faces, like, you're not getting me out of my chair. And it was like me also that first time doing that event is, am I really going to do this? And I remember it taking almost 45 minutes to get the first person into the chair because they didn't want to leave the chair. And I found it amazing 3 weeks later, you couldn't hold them back And you and your coaches found a way to take these kids out of their comfort zone. And what do you think that means to them for the rest of their life?
When I first met a lot of these young kids who grew up in the tri-state area, who go to their elementary school and they're literally their only kid in the school who has a physical challenge. They might be their only kid in their neighborhood in a wheelchair. So these kids, they know what it's like to be different, and they know what it's like to face challenges on a daily basis, and to be able to give these kids the opportunity to come out to Icon Stadium, to try a racing wheelchair for the first time ever, and to see them fall in love with it is just very rewarding. Because, you know, Lou, I see myself in these young kids. Their main goal is to be a kid. And if it helps them to be a kid, to get into a racing wheelchair and to push around that track 10 times, then that's what it's going to take. So, you know, Lou, sports brings the confidence to these kids. Once these kids are able to find out what they can and can't do, and most of the time it's finding out what they can do, especially through racing a wheelchair, you set them up for a future of unknown. You set them up for a future of really a future that they can create on their own. And instead of somebody telling these kids what they can and can't do, they're going out and they're finding that out for themselves. Being able to train at Icon Stadium on a 400-meter official track is amazing in itself, especially for these kids who some of them will have goals and dreams to go to the Paralympics one day. You know, when these kids are in their racing wheelchairs, they're very low to the ground, and it can be a very dangerous situation having to practice and train out on the roads and streets. So having that 400-meter track is just amazing.
I think every year I try to remind myself of that it's an elite facility, but it's for the children of New York. And when we say that, all the children.
All abilities. Yes, sir, it is.
Well, what I found also amazing was it was approximately 8 weeks later, you had these athletes racing in the Fifth Avenue Mile, which I'm not sure I want to do this. How'd you convince them that, hey, you're ready to race now?
A lot of these kids, they've never experienced what it was like to be on a starting line, let alone cross a finish line. And a lot of these kids, they've never experienced also having a big crowd around them and everybody cheering and looking for them. So, you know, I remember on the Fifth Avenue Mile on race day, a lot of the kids were very nervous, but with Paul and Trish and myself there to give them confidence and let them know what we've been doing over the past 8 weeks, we basically told them that the work is done. You guys enjoy and have fun, and that's really what they did.
If we change one child's life, whether it's from this program or any of the programs we do, we have become successful. And I think we were very successful with the wheelchair program.
Absolutely, Lou. I know firsthand that there are a number of kids who just absolutely look forward to being able to come out to Icon Stadium, to push around that track, to feel the support and to feel the love. So we thank you for that, Lou. Thank you.
Thank you.